Hello, everyone. Welcome to Ditto 101. My name is Amanda. I am a Ditto Education Specialist, and today I'm going to share a little bit with you about the Ditto basics. I'm going to talk about setup, projector calibration, some of my favorite features in the pattern library and in the app, and then we'll do some cutting, and I'll show you how all this works. I will say this is live, so if I have any technical difficulties, please just bear with me, give me a second to get through it all. If you have any technical difficulties or you need to leave early, we are recording this and it will be available to view directly after this broadcast. If you have any questions, feel free to put them in the chat and I'll do my best to answer, or I'll have the team answer. If we don't get to all your questions, you can always send us an email. We love hearing from you. We love hearing what you're thinking about. So yeah, let's get started. So this is Ditto right here, this pole and projector up there. I want you to ignore this camera setup. That is not part of the system. That is just so I can show you my table as I'm working and give you a really good shot of how the projections work. So yeah, Ditto. One of the really cool things is that this is the whole system. You don't have to worry about attaching anything to your ceiling or your floor or your wall, and this is portable. So if you have a dedicated sewing space, you can keep it up. It's really sturdy. It stays in place. And like I have my sewing table pushed up against it, it doesn't take much room up in my sewing space, which I really love. And if I want to take it somewhere, I can easily just push this down because it's spring loaded and bring it out and unpack it and take it where I need to take it. If you are someone who doesn't have a dedicated sewing space, Ditto is also perfect because of how easy setup and takedown is. And if you want to see some videos on how that's done, I highly recommend you check out our tutorial page on our app or our website or our YouTube. There's some really amazing tutorials on the setup and takedown of this beam. As you move it around, there's some really great features about it. One, like I said, it's really sturdy. There's also this little level on here. So as you're getting it set in place, you know that your beam is in the correct location. There are some requirements you do need in your space. Like I said, you don't need to screw it to any walls or ceilings, but you do need a flat ceiling, which if you can see, mine curves slightly, but the actual Ditto is sitting in a place where it is flat up there. You need 7.5 to 10 feet of space between your floor and your ceiling to fit this beam in place. And it does adjust between those two measurements. I have currently 58 inches between my ceiling and my cutting space, and that seems to be perfect. I get a really great projection onto my table. So yeah, that is Ditto as the equipment goes. And what's really cool that we're going to talk about next is the pattern library that goes along with this system. So give me a moment to change my screen. All right. So this is the DittoPatterns.com website. And here you can browse through all the patterns we currently have. We carry women's, men's, kids, crafts, gender neutral patterns, and we're adding more every single month. There are two options. We have our Ditto Patterns, which I'm going to focus on today because those are customizable, and I want to show you how amazing these customizations are. But we also carry some third-party brands that you may be familiar with, like Simplicity, Style Arc, Madeline Intimates. There's lots of options, and you can break down and filter patterns by those third-party brands or our brands. And as you can see, Ditto, we currently have 555 patterns. So that is a lot to start. And like I said, we're adding more and more each month. You can also search by product type, men's, women's, etc. So today I want to focus on Ditto Patterns. because the Ditto patterns are the most customizable, and you can have a subscription for these or you can buy them individually. So if you want to use some of the third-party patterns that we have on the website, those do need to be purchased individually and the prices range, and they are not customizable. You do get all the sizes that the designer provides, but you cannot customize things with measurements or with styles. Like what you choose is what you're getting, just like a normal paper pattern. Ditto, however, you can do 3 options. You can do a monthly subscription for $9.99. You can do a yearly subscription for $99.99, or you can buy them individually. And every Ditto pattern is $12.99 individually. Doesn't matter how you purchase it. They are customizable by size and some by style. So you can see here, some of them will say customizable, and that means when you click on it, you can go down here to style customizations, and this will show you various necklines that you can change this pattern to and sleeve lengths. And currently not all combinations are available, but you can see what is available. So if I do this neckline, there's 3 different sleeve options. And what I really love is as you change it on the website, you can see the garment illustrated so you know exactly what you are getting. Also on this page, oops, excuse me. Also on this page, and this is for every single pattern, in details, it will list kind of how the pattern is supposed to fit, whether it's loose or fitted, and then what kind of fabric. So this shirt is for a woven fabric. It goes into a little more explanation about the style. The descriptions are really cute. That's more of a playful, like wear this to the office, wear this to a picnic. So suggestions on how to wear it or how to pair it. Next, you will see fabrics and notions. The fabric recommendation, it'll give you some ideas on what kind of fabric works best for this pattern. So this one says charmeuse, rayon, crepe. It'll also tell you the notions that you may need, whether it be a button or zippers. That will be listed on this page. Another super cute feature that I love is, say you absolutely love the shirt that the model is wearing. You can go down here and see where the fabric, if it came from joannfabrics.com or Joann stores, you'll be able to see that it was from there. And it even gives you the fabric ID so you can go find that fabric. This page also gives you the yardage and breaks it down, whether it's 60 wide or 45 wide. It'll also tell you any interfacings you need. So that is all available for every single pattern, is all that information. So if I wanted to add this pattern to my pattern library, the first thing I want to do is choose the size, and there is a handy size chart. And like I said, these are customizable by size, but you need to start with a basic general size. So you pick something closest to your current size. Obviously, we're going to customize these in a moment, but you pick something that is generally around your standard size. All right. And I think I like that neckline. And I think I'll do these sleeves. That's great. So I have my size, I have my neckline and my sleeves, and I'm going to put a name. Okay, so now I hit add to my pattern library, and it'll say it's going to download. So when I hit pattern library, this takes me on the website to all the patterns I currently have saved. And if I click on one I have already, this one I already entered the measurements. So I get this custom fit Amanda, and I can edit the fit. But I will show you the one I just added. This one says size customization. So I have not changed the size of this yet. I could make it just as is at that standard size, but I want to customize this to my measurements. So there are two options of doing that. I can hit size customization right now and fill out these 17 points of measurements. And if you need assistance on knowing what those measurements are, we just released a really great video about measurements and how to take your measurements and what all these are. You can find that on YouTube, or you can click on every single one of these. On that question mark, we'll show you exactly where to measure, and we'll give a little bit of an instruction. I just got a question. Can we buy Ditto Patterns or have a subscription and use them without a Ditto projector? So Ditto is a closed system, which means this beam and projector only works with our pattern library and vice versa. The pattern library only works currently with the Ditto projector. Oops, sorry about that. What you need to know about that is that we've gotten that question a lot. Can I use patterns I've already purchased? And the product team is aware that that is something that people really want. So it may be in future rollouts of Ditto. Currently, you got to use the pattern library. But like I said, there's over 600 patterns in the library currently, and a lot of them are customizable. So you can find stuff that's really close to what you want. And we're adding more every single month, including third-party patterns and Ditto patterns. All right. So, like I said, you can enter the measurements directly on this pattern. But another way to go about it is if you go to your account and hit measurement profiles, you can create profiles, a bunch of profiles in your account. So you could have one for yourself, you could have one for your husband, one for your niece, whoever you make clothes for, you can have a measurement profile. You could even have multiple for yourself if you fluctuate or things like that. So there's lots of options to have measurement profiles. And whenever you create one, it'll say when it was modified. So as you change, if you want to adjust the sizes, you can always change that measurement profile in the future, and it'll tell you exactly the last time you did it. Like I said, if I click on this, I can adjust this as needed. To create a new profile, I just click create profile. I enter the standard size, and I can do male or female, customize measurements. And it's that same exact page that we saw before on the pattern. So because I already have one in there, I'm going to go back to my pattern library. I'm going to click on this top. Currently it says standard size 8. I want to customize it. Like I said, I could enter the measurements in there, or because I have a saved measurement profile, I'm going to hit that, and it automatically adds it to this list, and I will hit save. All right. I just got a note, if we have a subscription and download patterns, will they still be available to us to be customized if we don't renew? So you need to have if you want to keep adjusting the pattern, you will need to have a subscription, and that way you can have multiple customizations of the same garment. Say you want to change the sleeves, you could have it all different which ways. Whether you buy it or you subscribe, you can change the measurements either way. But if you don't renew and you had a subscription, you will lose those patterns. All right. So let's see here. Let me sync. So this is now I went to the app. I can show you. So I have saved that measurement, and you can see now it says custom fit Amanda. That just changed. And if I go to my app, it says new. This shirt has just popped up. And sometimes it takes a moment, so I'm going to give that a second. I already downloaded this in a different style, so I'm going to click on that to show you exactly what we're getting. All right, so this is what it looks like when it is in your pattern library on the app. And I will say that currently you need the app to work with Ditto, so it works on all iOS and Android devices. But you purchase or download all the patterns on the website, and then you bring them into the app to work directly with the Ditto projector. So on this pattern page, again, the yardage and notions that were on that other page are back. There are also instructions. So this, just like any other pattern, will explain to you exactly how to make this, including seam allowances, what sizes it was downloaded as, cutting suggestions, all that, and then the steps one by one. All right. A question I just got, will there be a Ditto Facebook page? Yes, so currently there is the Ditto Patterns Facebook page, and there's also Ditto Thread. And Ditto Thread is like a community page where you can post what you're making, if you're having any issues. So we have both those pages for you to check out. I highly recommend if you want to chat with other Ditto users, highly recommend checking out Ditto Thread. All right, so we went through pattern customizations, we went through measurements, and now we are in the workspace, and I am about to turn on the projector. Well, first I want to talk through the workspace, and then I will turn on the projector. All right, give it one moment. All right, so this is your workspace. We have another question, can you buy more pattern weights? At the moment, no. So I'm going to show you in a moment when I cut. With the Ditto, you get a rotary cutter, you get the mat, and you get pattern weights. Those come with it. They're really awesome quality. We don't currently sell more pattern weights. I'm sure in the future that will be an option. But you can use any pattern weights you have lying around, or you want to purchase ones. They don't need to be the Ditto specific ones. Another question, do we know when it'll be available in Canada? Currently, that is in the works, but it's not ready yet. So I would just say keep checking in with your local dealer about when that update comes through and when Ditto is available outside the US. But currently, it is only available in the US. So I'm going to clear that. So this is the workspace. And I'm just going to work through and explain to you all the areas of this page. So in the top left, you have the name of the garment. Underneath, if you click tutorials, this will take you back to that tutorial page, which is also on the home screen of the app. These tutorials are fantastic and walk you through every little bit. So I didn't go over beam setup and takedown, but that's there. Connectivity, connecting to your Wi-Fi and your Bluetooth. Calibration, I am going to show you today, but there is a great tutorial on how to do that as well. And there's also PDFs of all these instructions if you prefer to read through them. The how-to videos will have things that I'm going to go over today, like splicing, but there's more in-depth stuff in that tutorial. All right. So then also next to there is the sewing instructions, which is the same instructions we had before. Those are just on this page now, so you don't need to leave this page as you are cutting and sewing. In the top center, it says garment, lining, interfacing, and other. And what's great about that is it breaks down what pieces you need for each fabric type. So when I click interfacing, those are the only two pieces I need to cut of interfacing. This shirt does not have lining, so I don't need to worry about cutting that. And garment will be all the fashion fabric pieces that I need to cut. And you can see here, each piece is labeled back, front, sleeve, etc. And it will say whether you need to cut 2 or you need to cut 1 or you cut them on the fold. You can also see there's a reference layout. And if you click the width of your fabric, it'll show you the suggestions for how to lay it out on your fabric. However, one of the things I find coolest about this app is that I get to lay out my pieces the way I want to. So I love the idea of getting to puzzle piece all this stuff and save on my fabric and cut it exactly how I want to. So to bring a piece on to the workspace, you just pick it up and slide it over. And then when it's red, you can move it around and you can drop it wherever. You just need to keep it in this dashed line because this dashed line is what's going to be projected on your table. So this is a cut on fold. So what I might want to do is move this out of the way, move this here. Maybe I want to be not cut that back yet. I want to do all my folds first. So I'll clear that one. Say I want to cut this in one single layer instead of on the fold. What I can do is bring another one in and I can mirror this. And that way I can set this in place exactly where I need it moving forward. If I want to go back to cutting from a fold, I just make sure that one is red. I clear it. I bring this down. And I'm going to cut another piece on my fold. So I'm going to bring this in right here. And I want to fit some more pieces, so I'll also bring this in. And these pattern pieces have seam allowance, so I know when I'm cutting it, I'm just cutting it out. Someone said, can you change the height of the neckline or the length of the shirt? So that is dependent on the pattern. Some of them do have neckline and length adjustments. This current shirt does not, but you can see, it's small, but you can see lengthen or shorten here. So just like a paper pattern, there's that line there and you'll be able to shift your fabric as you're working to lengthen the garment if what you entered in the measurements isn't enough. And I will say there's 17 points of measurements and the height is one of them. So it should adjust to your height, but you do have that line like a typical pattern so that you can make it longer as needed. As for neckline changes, once you're in here, you're set with the neckline that is here. Does the suggestion of layout into account of your customizations? I am tall, so I always increase length. Like I said, the height is in there. On the size chart for the when you pick out your standard size, it is based on someone who is 5'7", but as you enter in your height, it will adjust accordingly. You also put in, your back, neck to waist, so that will get factored in as well. All right, so I'm happy with these. I don't think any other pieces are going to fit. I could bring in, nope, that sleeve isn't going to fit. So I'm going to clear that. I'm going to start here. As you can see on my page that this red connect is flashing. So that means my Ditto is not connected yet. So I'm going to work on that. Give me a second to turn on Ditto and turn off my lights because you do want a dimly lit room. And I'm going to make mine really dark so you can see the pattern pieces really clearly. But it's very bright, and even if you have a window open, you'll be able to see that. So give me one moment to do that. All right, so I'm just giving the Ditto a moment to warm up. In the meantime, someone said, I created a slow burr in clear plastic to put on top of the pattern, then adjusted the pattern to my slow burr. Works really well for 2 different shoulders. That is an awesome idea. Yeah. I mean, you guys are all creative. So you can do awesome things with it. So that's really awesome. Someone said, can you show how to rotate, not mirror in the app? Currently, you can't rotate these pieces, but you can, I'm going to hit connect, but you can shift your fabric. So you can turn your fabric when you get to that point. All right. So as you can see, I just hit connect and it successfully connected. So I'm going to hit OK. Do you need to calibrate? So calibration is getting our projector to perfectly match up the mat. And that way we know there's no errors in the size being sent down onto our cutting table. Calibration is something that if you have your setup in the same place, you don't need to necessarily do it every time if you don't move your mat, it's ready to go. But it is so fast to calibrate that I'm going to show you today how to do that. But real quick, I'm going to answer some questions. Can you use your own cutting mat? Yes. So what I've been hearing is a lot of people use the Ditto mat that you see here just to calibrate, and then they bring out their own self-healing mat to cut. But I will say the mat that is sent here with Ditto is really great and can be used for cutting. But yes, you can use your own cutting mat. Is the facing on the appropriate grain line? Oh, you're right. There's one of them. I see one. I'll show everyone. If you can see, one of the pieces is not. So I'll make sure to move my fabric. Good catch. Someone said, can you use other projector files in the Ditto app, such as a pattern not available with the subscription? So you have to, we have over 600 patterns in our library currently, and you need to use what's in the pattern library with the Ditto projector. So currently, no, not other patterns, but we do have lots of options, and the team knows that that's something that people really want. So in the future, there may be an option for bringing in other patterns. Somebody said I was able to rotate using 2 fingers. I'm going to calibrate this, and then we'll try that. Thank you for bringing that up. All right, so to calibrate, I'm going to hit yes, and I'm going to show you this. Give me one moment. I need to bring my iPad over. So you can do this on your phone or your iPad as long as you have the app. So I am hitting the calibrate button on my iPad. And what I'm waiting for is this red rectangle to show up. And what I want is for the red rectangle to sit within this gray border that goes all the way around the mat. You don't want it over the gray. You don't want it off on your table. You want to get that red rectangle right over your mat, and you can adjust the projector by moving it up and down the beam if you need to get a little closer or farther. But once you get this set up, you are good to go. So it's going to ask me next to take a photo. So I'm going to hit continue. There we go. And I am taking a photo, which you can't see, but I will show you in a moment. All right. So I want to show you what the screen looks like. I took my photo. All right. I did not get my 4 corners, so I'm going to switch back and take this again. And that's what's so easy. You can hit the retake button if you didn't quite get it. All right. So this time, all right, this time I got all 4 corners in that photo, so I'm going to hit submit. All right, calibration success, wonderful. All right, so now I'm ready to cut. That's how easy it is to calibrate. So now I am going to show you, I'm going to try this rotating. Oh, look at that, you can rotate, wonderful. Thank you for sharing that with me. I've been rotating my fabric, that is wonderful. So I can rotate this as needed so that my grain lines are the same. That's great. All right, so now I just rotated that, awesome. So now I'm ready to send that, is hit this send to projector button. And there is my pattern on my table ready to cut. So I'm going to move over to this table because I want to show you how some various fabrics look with this. So this is just a knit with a white backing, and you can see this is super bright. And I got a question. I'm going to keep showing this fabric and then get right back to a question we just got. So this is the white fabric. You can see the production is really easy. Someone said, what size is the mat that it comes with? It is 24 by 36 inches. So that's what you see here. And you might be wondering, well, how do I cut pieces that are bigger than that, like pants or skirts? I am going to show you because Ditto has a plan for that. So I will show you that in a moment. This is a fabric that is a little bit busy and darker, and you can see that is super easy to see as well. And here is what this looks like on a dark fabric. So it really works with all kinds of fabrics, which is really great. And what I love is like your pattern is always there. You don't have to lift the pattern, the pieces up to get your fabric in place. It's always there ready for you. All right. So if I am ready to cut, I can bring my fabric to my table and I am cutting on the fold. All right, and this is something like right now I have it currently folded and my plan is that I'll eventually put another piece over here. But I'm gonna get this on my fold here. And this is where those pattern weights come in. Because once I'm happy with the placement of a piece, I can set my pattern weights to keep it in place as I cut. And this pattern comes, there's the green lines everywhere, so I can see those and I know I'm cutting correctly. I can also see all of my marks. So this is a really great time to easily put in your marks here. Great, I think that's it. So to cut, then I can, now that I'm all laid out, I can bring in my rotary cutter and I'm just going to follow along these lines. And now I have this perfectly ready to go facing that I just cut out of here, and I can move on to my other pieces. So now I want to show you, I'm not going to cut out this whole shirt for you, but now I want to show you what to do if your pattern piece is bigger than your workspace. And also something I wanted to show you, say that you're not happy with the layout once it gets onto the projected space or onto your table. You can just move stuff however you want and then hit send to projector. And it moves right there. So it's in real time. You can move it as needed. This is super handy if you want to cut, like say you have a fabric that has a very particular flower that you want on the shoulder. You can move your pieces around. And what I also love about projected patterns is you don't necessarily have to cut with your right sides together. You could cut a single piece with the pattern up on top so you can see exactly where the printed fabric is showing up on your garment. All right, so let's talk about splicing, which is how you make a larger piece, a larger pattern fit on here. So I'm going to exit this pattern. I'm going to go back to my pattern library, and I'm going to show you this pair of pants because this is a perfect example of a piece that is too long for your mat. All right, so anytime that there is a pattern that is too large for your mat, you will notice that these pattern pieces in this upper right here have these red bold arrows on them. So I know that those need to basically have 2 cuts. So I'm going to bring, and I want to show you, this is really cute. As you cut pieces, you can check them off. So say you only cut half of it one day, you can keep track of how many pieces you're cutting. So yesterday I cut out those pants back. So today I'm going to cut this front. And I just bring it in and it'll tell you splicing is required. So as you can see, this piece is in place. I'm not able to move it because you want to cut the one piece at a time. So I am going to, oh, my projector got disconnected. So let me connect again. Uh-oh. Give me 1 second. There we go. All right, so we are connected. And I'm not going to calibrate now because we just did that. So I'm going to send this to the projector. All right, so as you can see, the pants are now on that mat. And I'm going to lay out my fabric here. Great. And so what you can see is that the pattern ends a little bit early and there's these red dots here. So Ditto sends you these red stickers. There's a set of red and white that comes on a roll. You get a whole bunch of them and they are reusable. I just keep putting mine back on the roll. But you basically put the stickers where you see these red circles. And I'm gonna use a white one since this is dark fabric and you can kind of see what that looks like. So the white shows up a lot better on different fabrics. So that's why you have both options. All right, so now that I'm happy with this, I've got this marked. I can take this moment to mark all my notations, my markings. That's great. There is a shorten and lengthen line there. I can add my pattern weights. And now I'm ready to cut. And you want to stop right where your cut line is or where your pattern ends there. Okay, great. So now, somebody said a really great thing about Ditto, you won't end up with a flower on your boob. Yep, exactly. Pattern placement is sometimes very key, so this is really great. Okay, so to shift this, all I'm going to do back in the app is I'm going to hit this red arrow that's at the end of my pattern, and you can see that that just shifted in place. So I'm going to hit send to projector again. And you see that just moved. So what I want to do is move it to match what I had before. So I'm just going to slide this piece and my cut fabric so that my dots match up again. And I can also use, oh, I have one little spot I didn't cut. Give me one moment. Here we go. All right. Okay, so now I can see this matches up again in place and my stickers match up. So I'm happy with that. I can finish cutting. All right. And that is how I cut a piece that is bigger than my mat. All right, any other questions? Otherwise, I'm going to turn my lights back on. All right, everyone. So I just want to say thank you for joining me today with this tutorial. If you are interested in the Ditto system, it currently is $799 and you can find it at your local dealer. So just check out if they have it yet. You can even test it out there. If you're interested in more tutorials with me and more things Ditto, definitely check out our social media various pages to see when we're going to have other tutorials and sew-alongs and live events and things like that. I'm getting some more questions. The next SewNet Live is Wednesday, April 12th at 2 p.m. Central Time with Kathy Frome, who will be demonstrating the Modify tab and Stitch Editor. So definitely check out that on this Facebook page. Again, if you have any questions about Ditto or you want to learn more, check out our website. Send us an email. We love to hear what you're thinking, and we're really excited about Ditto. And the next PFAFF Facebook Live is Thursday, April 20th with Karen Charles doing a hands-on with the serger, which I think she's doing like 20 different stitches or something like that. I'm definitely checking that out. I think that's really cool. All right, yeah, so if there's no other questions, I just want to say thank you for joining me in this tutorial today with Ditto, and keep checking in with your local dealer to test it out for yourself. Thank you.